All right, everybody. Welcome to the BNI Blast on Blab. If you're listening this on the replay, retweet and share this with your followers and fellow BNI and business networking colleagues. I always like to start off the show with a little definition of what that acronym is, BNI. It stands for Business Networking International. BNI is the largest business networking organization in the world with over 180,000 members. Last year alone, BNI generated 6.6 million referrals, they say, resulting in $8.6 billion worth of business for its members. BNI offers members the opportunity to share ideas, contacts, but most importantly, referrals. So if you're just joining us, I see we have a few people in the room already. I see Kevin, I see Alicia, thanks for joining us. I see Matthew from Moco Card, that's one of our BNI network members. And we have my production assistant, Stephanie, in the room, who helped get all this prepped and going. Big props to her. So if you're if you be so kind as to tweet this out to your followers or post on Facebook, that would be appreciated. I'd like to introduce myself a little. I normally have a co-host, Philip, that joins me, but he had a little family emergency that he's taking care of. So if you pray, keep his family in your thoughts and prayers today. For myself, my name is Brian Lobig. I'm the owner of Lobig Inc. Web Consulting. I work with other marketing firms and consultants around internet marketing strategies. Matthew says, "Go Brian, go Brian." Thank you. I also do. I'm a Google AdWords partner. A lot of social media marketing, social media advertising, social media management, and then SEO is another very big part of my business and growing, especially at the beginning of this year already. Stephanie, who's kind of in the wings over there, helping pay attention to the feed. She's our production assistant, Stephanie Montenegro. And I would like to introduce our special guest, Susan Commander Samakow. Did I pronounce that right?
Samakow, close enough.
Samakow. Susan is her business title is Susan Samakow Coaching LLC. She calls herself the Self-Talk Coach. Located in Central Maryland, is a member of BNI Capital Business Alliance in Bethesda. We're in the same business networking group. Works with individuals, couples, groups, addressing goals affecting home, leadership, meditation, career, life transitions. Right?
Absolutely.
Fill in any gaps to that little brief intro, and then share something about yourself personally too.
Well, sure. I guess the one thing, that foundation of my business has a lot to do with self-talk, which is that inner dialogue or chatter that we have, because I believe that there's nothing more important than what you're saying to yourself, because that then will affect your relationships, careers, everything. So.
How long have you been in business with your coaching?
I've been coaching for years. It didn't have a name back then. So officially going through coaching school certification since 2003.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm living my passion.
What motivated you to get it? What did you do before you were doing coaching?
Well, it was coaching. It just didn't have a name. I was working with people that were going through any type of life or career transition, people that were not as confident, and so helping build confidence with positive self-talk strategies, and also working a lot with resiliency techniques. So helping people grow their business, which is a sweet spot.
Very good. What challenges have you had to overcome as a business person working for yourself?
Oh, well, I think, and when I'm working with people, I hear the same things that I felt. When you think about going in for business yourself, you focus on the things that you like you focus on, for me, coaching. And then what basically happens is there's all these other hats to wear. The administrative piece, the marketing piece, et cetera. So there's a lot of different hats, and I think that would be a piece that people should be aware of as they're thinking of starting a business.
When you first engage with someone as a coach, what are some of the initial things you ask, or you try to determine if it's going to be a good fit for you as a coach with that person?
Yeah, well, basically, coaching, which is not It's not therapy. It's not consulting. Coaching is an equal relationship so you partner with the client, and the client brings the agenda. So I basically start out with, what do you want to be coached on? And it has totally stemmed from people that want to know life purpose to people that want to, meet their goals or set their goals. Some people that are stuck or overwhelmed, or the what's next phase. So it's a full range. That's why, to me, I do business and life, because you really can't separate it. It's one head doing the thinking.
What is it? Is there a typical length of time you're working with a person?
It really varies, which I'm sure you knew that's what I was going to say. A lot depends on a person's self-awareness, because the more aware you are, that's what allows you to make any changes that you want, or to take your life to the next level. So there are some people that come and they want something very specific, like they have a quota to reach. Other people that want to know, what their life purpose is. So, we dive into that and discover. Other people where you're helping them navigate through a day. So what I know human behavior takes about 90 days to change. So like for myself, I offer 6, 12, and 18-week packages. So.
What type of tools do you use in your business as you work with people as a coach? You have like any kind of like assessment tools or interview guides?
I use quite a few when it's appropriate. Everything from a personality diagnostic to a strength finder. One of the personality diagnostics I use helps you communicate to other types, because people, different types of people. And I do 360s. I don't know if you've heard of that.
60 evaluation of the people above.
Yep. So do that a lot in businesses. A lot of different assessments, different tools that help you hone in on, depending on what a person wants to be coached on.
I know you do a lot of speaking engagements. I've seen you on our own local TV shows as a regular personality, talking about coaching and that type of thing.
Right.
How have you gotten in? How often do you do those kind of speaking events, and how do you decide? Because you seem to be everywhere. If you look on your website, which is selftalkcoach.com, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're just really out there doing lots of speaking events on podcasts, on TV, on interviews, at different kinds of networking groups. Where do you find those opportunities, and then how do you decide between them, and then how do you also balance that with your actual coaching of people?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Very thought-provoking. It's especially the coaching piece, because that's where you have to sometimes take a step back and be aware of where you're spending your time. When I started out, I just thought it would be one-on-one coaching. Then I was asked to do group and team. And things just started to basically morph to the next step. And I do everything from brown bag lunches to speaking at conferences. The way that I ended up on TV is when the economy was tanking, and somebody had given my name because of my expertise in transition and in the self-talk piece and resilience. And I was asked to come in one day, and then another day, and another, and just do, a regular piece, depending on what's going on at the station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I enjoy it. I mean, you just meet a lot of great people, and to me, there's no accents and things. So whatever I'm doing, at the very least, it's a learning experience.
You talk a lot about resilience. Talk a little bit about what that means. And
Okay.
First do that, because I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay. Well, where you have self-talk, which is our inner dialogue, or that chatter that we all have, with that 65,000 thoughts a day. So you have self-talk, which is what are we saying to ourselves, and then resilience, which is it's basically about our thinking style. The way that we think, do the events in our life, anything that's going on, are they energizing us or are they depleting us? And so the way that we think will have us either have, to me, anything that energizes us points us towards our goals, and anything that, depletes us of energy takes us away. So I look at resilience like it's a muscle, like in the arm, and the more you want your muscle to grow, the more you work out. I look at resilience as a muscle, and the more resilient we are, which is a lot, people think of resilience as just bouncing back. It's more a mindset of looking at things as a stepping stone rather than an obstacle, or as a challenge rather than a hardship. So I teach different techniques for that.
It seems like some people are just naturally resilient, like it's part of their personality, like a person whose cup is half full or half empty. So how do you deal with somebody in a coaching situation that doesn't seem to be normally resilient? How do you get them to create a muscle that they seem not to have initially?
Well, for one thing, I'm a big believer in slow, steady steps, not in taking a grand leap, because I think when we go to take a grand leap, it can just bang into a wall and stop, which then puts us in overwhelm and stuck. And by the way, the little tip is the best way to get out of stuck or overwhelm is to take an action step. So when you have people that are coming and they're trying to grow that resilience muscle, what we start out with is self-awareness, because noticing, where are our thoughts, where do we feel things in our body, because our body gives us a lot of signals, from something that's happy going on to something that can be creating anxiety. So it's teaching people the self-awareness to notice the impact that whether it's an event or another person are having on them, or that they're having on somebody else. And then the more aware you are, the more you begin to build the muscle. And instead of looking at, say, failure as the opposite of success, a resilient person basically takes that failure and learns from it. They're not looking at it as something that's going to stop you.
Sounds like you might be helping the person you're working with do a lot of reframing. So if they're describing a failure or a challenge in their business, maybe some part of your goal would be to kind of reframe that challenge as an opportunity, maybe.
No, absolutely. I mean, I worked with a sales team where people were having issues with reaching the quota. So it was helping them shift to looking at options and possibilities. A lot of times people are so used to looking at things through their own lens or their own perspective that they're not looking at the options that they have and different ways of doing things.
I'm going to switch the subject a little bit, and if anybody has a question, they can type in our little chat box to the right. You can you type a slash and a Q, and then a space, and then type your question. And then it'll kind of show up on our screen as a question to ask you. So if anybody's listening, you want to ask a question of Susan, just type it in there. But I want to shift the focus a little bit to networking. So part of this is learning a little bit about you, and also is about talking a little bit about BNI or business networking in general. Sure. So how would you personally measure success in networking?
The way that I view networking is when I go to an event, I believe that everything boils down to relationship. So I look at it as relationship building. I don't look at it as I'm going to go to this event and I'm going to collect 40 business cards. I'd rather speak to a few people and start to build the relationship, and find something that's mutual, something in common, so that you start to grow it for both people.
What, other than business BNI, what other types of professional networking have you done?
I do a lot of ways that I got business. My own business was word of mouth, but I also I like the energy of other people, and that's one reason why I'm a BNI. So I do BNI. I do a women's group called NABO. which is National Association of Women Business Owners, and I also do WBO, which is that. I get out there a lot by doing different things. Like a portion of my business, I do pro bono. The giving back piece is really important. So I'll do everything from go out and go into shelters and teach strategies, to helping people with interviewing skills or presentation skills. A lot of times we think that our brain tells our body things, but our body also tells our brain. So even the shift of a person in their posture makes a difference in their confidence level.
As a coach, do you have a mentor yourself, or have you had someone who's been a coach for you?
I have a coach. I actually work with a coach who's in North Carolina, because coaching is done on the phone, in person, combination, however the client decides. And we've been together for almost since the time that I'm coaching. So I've probably been coaching.
Then.
Say that again?
Take your own medicine then.
Absolutely. Look, using Tiger Woods as an example, on the golf side, he always had a coach. And he would also use visualization, which I use. He saw the ball going into the hole before it happened. So to me, I wouldn't be without a coach. It's somebody that's objective. It's somebody that a lot of times has insights or the perspective that they're looking through. So that in itself opens up, possibilities.
That makes total intuitive sense. If you think about the best professional sports players, they all have coaches. And
absolutely.
The highest level of coaches, the one people with the most success had the most. Makes me think of also mastermind groups.
Right.
Where people who are really successful in business have other people who are even more successful than them.
Right. I run a couple of mastermind groups.
Really?
And it's fun. But I think that the one thing that executive coaching, business and life coaching are similar to sports is that you can run right out of play, just like you see them doing in football, on the sidelines, or they bring it into the quarterback, but it's the athlete themselves that's got to run the ball. So where I can plan with the client, they still have to run the ball. You don't do that for them.
How long have you been a member of BNI?
I've been a member of BNI. I was a member a while ago and then had a shift because it was a lunch group. So I wanted a breakfast group, but I would say at least 5-6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
This question is, what makes BNI worthwhile to you? I know you talked about really developing those relationships. Is that the main thing that makes it worthwhile to you?
For me, I got re-involved because it's like I love, the relationship piece, the people piece, especially being an extrovert. I just I get my energy from other people. Our group, what I loved about it was because I felt such a positive energy in there. You really saw the relationships. It felt like a family. Yeah. And, coaching, if you're doing a lot of one-on-one, and especially if you're doing it on the phone or, FaceTime, whatever, that could be isolating. So that's why I like to mix it up with networking. I like to mix it up with workshops, different things that just, I like variety.
That hits home for me because that's actually the main reason I initially joined our BNI group, is because, I'm sitting like where I am right now, 24/7. I work out of my house. And so it's like I don't see people unless I go on some kind of one-on-one client meeting. So I was just really, for the social aspect, business social, connecting with other people. But it has become, my primary source of new business, really, is members, and then follow up. You get one referral leads to another.
Right. Right.
Have you attended other BNI chapter meetings since you've been involved with this current chapter?
Yeah, and there's all different types. You get your mom and pop, business to business, business to consumer. So you have to make sure you join, a group that works for you. But I love the energy of our group. It's a nice big group. You get a lot of different personalities, as we have witnessed. And, and each group has a different feel to it.
Yep, very true.
Yeah.
Do you attend other chapters that have business coaches, or do you usually try to find a chapter to visit that doesn't have a coach?
Well, typically, if you go to another meeting, you go where there's not a coach, because then you can't do your infomercial, because there'd be a conflict. But I remember several years back where Eric Eisenberg, who was the, director or regional manager, had asked all the coaches to meet together.
Oh, really?
So that, they were trying to think of a way of how to, build coaches. And for some people it doesn't work. For me, it does work. So, I think that could depend on the group. I would suggest to people, check out a few different groups, make sure it's the right fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And you were very warm and welcoming. You were one of the first people I met when I came to the group.
Yes.
Yes, it was great.
Yeah.
And I also, when we do our one-on-ones, for anyone that's not familiar, that's the time to, learn about each other's businesses. I always like to do the first one where you're really learning about the other person before you get into the business part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Stephen Covey's approach, where seek first to understand and then to be understood.
Yeah, he's great. I used him today in a workshop.
Oh, you used that today in a workshop?
Used that, and I used his, the four boxes where they have, very important, urgent, and there was one person in there that was, everything was urgent. Well, if you have everything urgent, it kind of loses its importance.
Exactly. Yeah. You're in crisis mode all the time.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what was your workshop today that you were doing?
Today it was on stress reduction. So it was stress management at work.
Oh, really?
And everything that I do can be applied, whether it's personal or professional. And I like to give strategies and tips where the person could start to use them right away, as opposed to, I know that I used to go to things and it would sound good and then you leave and it's like, what do I do with it? So I like things where you can, take it and use it. And we were doing everything from breathing techniques as a stress reducer. We did a little bit of meditation, which was great in a group. Just different things. It's great.
Is that for a business or for an association or something?
It was actually for, I don't want to give the name of the company, but it was a really big communication organization. That cares enough about their employees to want them to stay healthy. So that's why, they'll bring somebody like me in.
What would your advice, this is the last BNI question. What would you tell someone who's considering joining BNI?
I would say find the right group and join. I think it's great. One of the things to make people aware of is it's one person per profession, so that there's not a competition within the group. That's important for a lot of people. Just really making sure it's the right fit, and I would suggest going to a couple of different meetings, couple different groups, and checking it out so that you can see it in action.
Yep, good advice. I didn't take that advice. I went to our chapter and then joined immediately. Because I was so energized by that group's the whole thing, and they didn't have a web designer. I was like, I don't know about the other groups, but this is the one for me.
No, that's good that position was open.
Yeah. In fact, that was a God thing, because that the previous web designer had left 2 weeks prior, and I just went to the closest BNI to my house. And so it was like, this is where I need to be.
Yeah. Well, and by them leaving, they opened up the space for you to join.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, no coincidence.
Exactly, no coincidence. My mother always said, coincidences are the times when God chooses to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, how can people get in touch with you? So this is going to be a video. This is going to be converted into a YouTube video, and I'll post it. And so, what are some ways that people can get in touch with you?
Email, which is Susan@selftalkcoach.com. My website is www.selftalkcoach.com. I'm also .net, but I'm, using the .com more. I am located, I have offices in Maryland, D.C., Virginia, and people can call or FaceTime. The phone is 301-706-7226. Or I have one, well, we'll stick with that phone number.
You said 301-706-7226?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put that in the chat. And then
Great, thank you.
also have a branded URL for LinkedIn, which is the best practice strategy. So I'm going to put that in the show notes there. LinkedIn.com, Susan Commander Samakow. Very good. Well, I appreciate your time and enthusiasm in this broadcast. I was a little nervous doing this myself because Philip always, picks up when I start stuttering.
No, I think that's where I can do this. Did you get your claps?
Yeah.
You did a great job. I want to thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
For those of you who are listening, our next show is going to be next Thursday. We do this every Thursday night. If you're a member of a BNI group, feel free to send me a message or send me a tweet. And for your interest in participating in the show, we have the next few weeks covered already. Our next interviewee will be Karen Dowell. She's a real estate agent in Central Virginia, and she'll be on the air next week. Thank you very much for joining us, Susan.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.